I'm looking at the Nigerian music industry and how global it has become. The Nigerian music industry and how global it has become. A lot of generations have done their bit, but let's focus on the Fela Kuti generation. Fela Kuti, all right, put in, his best, put in a lot of energy by producing and then putting out a lot of beautiful African songs that birthed the Afrobeat genre, all right. He did his thing, he was known worldwide, he was loved worldwide. Why? Because he was able to blend the African culture, the Nigerian culture, and the system rhythmic African thing. So a lot of people go to Fela Kuti's, programs, events, and automatically you see that this is an African. This is what I mean by the African culture.
Orikamini Choma, and her name is Abachukwu Emma TJ Studios. Keep watching TJ Studios.
Beautiful day, blessed Sunday right here on TJ Studios. I am here to serve you. As soon as you see me here, it means say something they in the pipeline. Waiting there in the pipeline. Okay, it's a beautiful and a wonderful Sunday. And I hope you had fun at church. I hope you enjoyed those spirit-filled worship moments. I hope you know, enjoyed the preaching from the man of God as well. And I hope you took a thing or two as a means of advice from it. Okay, I am here to serve you. I also enjoyed my time in church or at church today. Okay, let's move on to what is on the bill. I'm looking at the Nigerian music industry and how global it has become. The Nigerian music industry and how global it has become. All right, so on the basis of that, a lot of African nationals or African, countries basically envy and love the Nigerian music industry and how global it has become. A lot of African countries, some love it, others also envy such a feat, and they would also want to achieve such, an altitude of, global versatility and then global reach. Well, I am here to look at the Nigerian music industry and how global it has become. I'm looking at it not coming on a silver platter and then some of the works or the work that has gone into the Nigerian music space. So Flow With Me is strictly an editorial based on or basically focused on educating and then focusing on how the Nigerian industry has become. Also, you can add yours, all right, like we've been doing on this channel. We do that basically to also give you the opportunity to share your opinions. That is what we've been doing. Jump into the comment section, share your thoughts, add up. Yes, basically, okay, I've been saying this. Wisdom and knowledge is not embedded in the mind of one person. It cuts across. So add yours, all right, but it should be devoid of insults. So let's disagree to agree and then agree to disagree in that regard. Okay, so you are free to share your opinion and also add up to this editorial. Okay, all right. Okay, so let's move on to action. A lot of African nations look at the Nigerian music space and they love what they are doing. Some also envy them and will also want to achieve such a feat by the Nigerian music space. First and foremost, let's look at the Nigerian music space. All right, everything you are seeing today, all right, has come up as a result of hard work, consistency, and then this is what I call in soccer, we call it the generational baton give out. Okay, that is how I call it. Now, let's measure it even in football. Okay, the JJ Okocha generation is different from the Victor Osimhen generation. It goes on and on. So every generation will come fighting, putting their best, and then when they are leaving, another generation will come up and also take the baton or take the mantle and carry on from where their predecessors left off. It has a same semblance and it's in line with the Nigerian music space. All right. Now, a lot of work has gone in and it carries on or it comes up from generation to generation. All right. So this is how it all goes back. A lot of generations have done their bit, but let's focus on the Fela Kuti generation. Fela Kuti, all right, put in, his best, put in a lot of energy by producing and then putting out a lot of beautiful African songs that birthed the Afrobeat genre, all right. He did his thing. He was known worldwide. He was loved worldwide. Why? Because he was able to blend the African culture, the Nigerian culture, and the system rhythmic African thing. So a lot of people go to Fela Kuti's, programs, events, and automatically you see that this is an African. This is what I mean by the African culture. All right. Now the focus mostly was the Nigerian culture, where his dressing, rhythm, and everything came to bear on stage. He gave out back-to-back hits. And even if you look at it during his funeral, okay, during Fela's funeral, which is rolling on your screen, it took them about 2 hours just to move from where they want to bury him, all right, where he was, the funeral activities were going to where they were burying him, because the natives of Nigeria did not adhere to where their family wanted to bury him. They also had an opinion as to where they wanted Fela to be buried. So it was all a thing where the natives felt he is a national asset, all right. He sang and it touched the heart of people. So they feel that this funeral is for them, all right. This comes up to add up to how impactful Fela has been in the Nigerian space. Such a legend that a novel cannot even contain, a book cannot even contain the strides and then the historical feat achieved by Fela. Now, fast forward, let's move from the Fela era and then fast forward, move to, the olden era a bit when we look at the lives of Two-Face, Idibia, P Square, and so on and so forth. These were also another generation that came to also add up to the foundation. Each and everyone comes up to build a structure, leaves, and then the next generation will come to continue the structure. So the likes of Two-Face, Idibia, P Square, the olden day hit songs where we had the African Queen, where we had Temptations. I loved P Square's Temptation, all right, which moved on to a blend of them featuring Rick Ross. Two-Face also did, African Queen, and also had some feature or one or two feature with VVIP. So it was a generational thing. So the last time, if you watch the video, which I shared in my other podcast, where he was narrating how he started his music journey, how his father sent him to school abroad. He still had his focus on music and all. He narrated the fact that, his older generation, the likes of P Square, the likes of Two-Face, like I mentioned, all right, laid a foundation for them to enjoy now, all right. So fast forward, all right, from Two-Face Idibia, all right, to that of P Square, a whole lot of, Nigerian artists within that period who also added up and gave the medium, built and continued the structure from where it left off. They also did their thing, sold Nigerian music to the African states. I believe the likes of Two-Face, the likes of P Square, even Idris Abdul Karim, then they laid the foundation. They made sure the Nigerian music moved to the shores of every other African countries. And that was when the dominancy started. We didn't know. Some of us didn't realize because they were working. The likes of P Square will hit Senegal, they will hit Benin, they will hit Togo, they will hit Ghana, they will hit Kenya, they will hit, Namibia, every other African country just to perform there. And the numbers that turned up was massive and bigger. All right. Okay, that was when, the music videos from P Square were so solid to the extent that you could never decide to take a blink of an eye off the Nigerian, music, because it was bigger. All right, I enjoy music like in no easy way, you get it. All right, you get it. That song was massive, big song out there. All right, so it's a massive feat achieved by a country who keeps laying structures upon structures, building foundations upon foundation, completing the structure of each generation. From where they left up, this generation will come and continue. All right. So then today's generation, that of Whiskey, that of Davido, that of Burna Boy, that of Ashake, a lot of generational talents scattered all over the Nigerian music space have also taken the baton from the likes of, like I said, P Square, from the likes of, Two-Face, and they are doing their thing. So relatively, the P Squares, the Two-Face are not off the market. They are legends. Once in a while, they will drop hit songs, bangers upon bangers, all right, and then be out there. Now, the baton, all right, is on the new generation, all right, which seem to be handled by the Burna Boys, like I said, the Ashakes, like I said, the Wizkids, you get it. And so on and so forth, they are also doing their thing. They are also adding up. It will get to a time this generation will also fade up. Another generation will take on the baton and carry it from there. So why am I saying this? If you see them dominating the global region, dominating the international market, it is work. And this and more I want to say, and then, share with my African brother. It is not something you just wake up and you start achieving. I've given you, the routine and procedures of how the work has gone in. All right, they've done their bit. And if you look at their space now, they are done with Africa. I'm saying they are done with Africa not to say that they are not Africans, but the focus is with the international space because they have achieved all that they need to achieve in Africa. They are everywhere. Their songs are everywhere. The last time I did the most popular Nigerian artist, and you saw it. I need not to go back and reference and talk about it. You saw it. They are dominant. They are everywhere. Their artists are everywhere. Their songs are everywhere. Eastern Europe, Caribbean, wherever. All right. So all I'm saying is that the African space needs to come to a point where we need to learn. We need to observe with these facts and figures I have given. This is only for education and editorial purpose. But if you want to learn, you get a broader and a wider scope of this education. You can add it up to your bill in your country and decide to also start building a structure, laying foundations that will go on from generation to generation before you can achieve such a feat. Okay? You look at them, you love what they do, you only see the work out there. But the kind of work that has gone on behind the scenes has gone from generation to generation. This I have said, and I'm going to say a lot of times. How many times do you see Nigerian artists competing with themselves, among themselves? That is not what they do. The competition is out there. It is a self-competition that I want to take my music out there. They don't want to compete with you. In a much more wider perspective, what do they stand to gain from competing with a local indigenous African artist? The battle is out there. They are doing it. As such, they are inviting, foreign artists like Usher Raymond, big artists, coming to their fold to basically collaborate with them. And if you are on a tree like a mango and you are ripe, a lot of you attract a lot of stones, and that is what they are doing. They are ripe fruits, and they are attracting a lot of fruits. So if you want to have or achieve the same feat like the Nigerian space, then you also need to understand that you need to go through the process. You need to hit the ground running. You need to put in the work. You need to start, digging. You need to start putting on the right foundation, the right iron rods, the right building materials to lay the foundation, start building the structure, put it out there for people to see, now have the building, roof it, go through all the necessary, processes that every or any industry should go on. All right. So the Nigerian music space is a space I love and I cherish so much. Personally, I have love for Nigerians. I love their space. And even I would admonish for every other country, including my country, Ghana, to look at the Nigerian music space and learn. The only way to look at it is to look at it and learn. Unless you also want to carve your own niche. You also want to have your own path. It has come to a point where we started with high life. I know it is not ours. It cuts across, but that is what we majored on. Now, if an artist, put together the high life genre Ghanaians will mock it and say it's a funeral song. This is how primitive, all right, we've become. We do not understand the culture of this music thing. High life is not, a funeral song. If you understand the rudiment and the core foundation of high life and where it came from, you not even narrow high life to a funeral song. We are lost. We seem to be lost with borrowed genres, and it is something that we cannot leverage on for long because it does not belong to us. It is not ours. So if you want to carve your own path and say, okay, we want our music industry to be like that of UK, and so we want to carve our own path and have our genre and then push it to that side, fine. They saw what they want to do. They wanted to be global, campaigns, and they've achieved that. Now the sky is the limit. The sky is the only limit for Nigerian artists now. Imagine today's generation handing on the baton to the next generation. That is when the global thing. I have said and I have prophesied. Should I say I have predicted that in some few years to come, the Nigerian space will be everywhere. Even Americans will decide to do Afrobeat in a much more wider percentage. All right. So this is how the Nigerian industry has been, and how positive it has been, and how global it has been. If you want to achieve such a feat, toe the same line, learn from them. If you have ego in you, if you are imbibed with that, flood of ego, then I beg, also learn your own thing and push it out there. We are looking at Africa, the positive side of Africa, and that is what we are here to do. Shout out to Nigeria. This is a brief editorial I decided to put before you. The rest is on you to also share your thoughts with me in line with today's editorial or today's exclusive. It's a beautiful and a blessed Sunday. My name is Emeka Friday Chukwu Emeka Emaswen, right here on TJ Studios. It is time to go. It is time to sign out of here. Add up to the editorial by sharing your comments with me in the comment section, and let's do this together. I'm signing out of here. See you same time. I salute you. Peace out.
Welcome Choma, and her name is Obachukwu Emma TJ Studios. Keep watching TJ Studios.